Okay, boys and girls, what we've got here, fractions, we just had a Zoom lesson. Remember, fractions are parts of a whole, okay, they're parts, they're bits. They can be written in three different ways. They can be written as a fraction form, as a decimal form, or as a percent form. Okay, and we are going to look at this, but that will be the easiest step, don't worry about it. So following on from what we did this morning, we're going to look at similar questions that we did at the beginning. How do we convert this fraction to a decimal number? Now we see that there's not a whole, so for each of these we can put, well for these two, we can put 0 point, and for this one, we know we're going to convert them into fractions, so we'll just put down the vincula, you know that word. Okay. So to help us here, it always helps to visualise when you're starting something. Okay, so don't worry about drawing it out, because it's a really powerful tool to fix it into your mind, to embed the learning. So we've got tenths. So straight away, if we put down our headings, that will make it easier. Okay, so we've got tenths. We don't have a full tenths, we have not a whole. We have got 8 tenths. So there's the tenths, we just write it down there. And that's it, that is it. Done. Okay. So for this one, again, look at the tenths column. We've got 3 tenths, 3. So here we've got it the other way around, and we're thinking, okay, what column is this in? So let's do our units, decimal mark, and then our tenths. So we know we've got tenths, so we can put down tenths, and then this tells us how many we have. Ta-da! That's it. Simple, simple, simple. I'll put this one a bit further down. Again, it's in the tenths column, so we can put it here, and we've only got 1. So if I give you a number which is 0.02, what would this be? Have a think. Okay. We're going to put it into a fraction, so it's in another column, so we need to put in the second column. So it is in the hundredths, so hundredths. And how many hundredths do we have? We have 2 hundredths, and that's it. Super, super simple. Okay, so what we're going to do now is if I put a 3 here, then that would simply just be, we've got 3 wholes. You know mixed numbers, this is a mixed number now. We've got the 3 wholes and we've got 3 tenths. So how would you do that? Personally, I would do the fraction first, using this, and then I'd look at the whole, because that's the easy bit, leave that to last. Get the bit that you're practicing out of the way first. Okay, now what we were also looking at, I'll do it over here maybe rather than rub that out. We were looking at using a number line to find out, because all we need to, at your stage, we're only going to go so far as adding fractions up to 10. But before we do that, this is all very straightforward. So I'm going to remove this because you know that. Okay, so let me just start up here. First of all, decimals. What am I writing? Decimal pairs to 1 whole. Okay, so we're going to look at doing decimal fractions. The reason I say decimals, decimal fractions, is to remind you that some people will say decimal fractions because that's how they speak. Okay, you can say decimals, you can say decimal fractions, you can say fractions, you can say percentages, but get used to all those different terms. The language of maths is important to understand, and we're going to do adding. Okay, we're going to look at the pairs, and you had a go at this yesterday. Some people were hugely successful and other people just found pairs that were the same. That's not what this is about. So if we think about, I'm going to give you some decimal numbers, and I want you to think, what is the partner, what is the pair for these? Okay, what would you match it to? So we've got Okay, and down here we're going to go to 2 decimal places. So this is where you're just thinking, if you think about 65 add what would make 1 whole. Okay, it's just to make 1. That's all we're doing just now, okay? Now, very quickly, if you know, again I've said this to you before, all of the 25s adding, it makes something work in your brain that makes adding and bigger numbers much easier. Okay, so think about all of that. That's a really, really useful thing just to get really familiar with. Okay, can you see, if we take away the 0 points, you're simply doing what you did in grade 1. You're looking for what adds what to make 10. So if we looked at 9 and there, that would make 10. Okay, but it's decimals. So 0.1 add 0.9 does make 10, but because it's a decimal, the decimal point has gone 1 forward. Okay, so it's just 1. All of these, so this would add to 10. These two, 7 and 3, add to 1, sorry, but imagine 10, use that as your guiding number, but remember you're doing decimals, that would go to 1. So if these two made 10, if they were whole numbers, then they would make 1 if they were decimal numbers, but 5 and 9 do not make 10, they make 0.9, so that can't be right. So use your knowledge. So you've got 0.5, let's just use this one, and you've got, oh, did I not put 0.0? Yes, I did. 0.0, and then we've got 0.6 for this one. Okay, 4 and 6. It's really simple. That's why it's important that you know your very, very basic maths really, really well, that you know that not only does 4 and 6 make 10, but 14 and 6 make 20, or 16 and 4 make 20, that you know all of those different little facts in between, and that 12 and 4 make 16, and 8 and 7 make 15. All of those should be really quick. If you've got that really quick, your confidence will go up with maths. So if you've got time, practice playing around with those numbers. So now we're looking at the hundredths column, so tenths, hundredths, and that's your units. So again, if you look at 25 add what, it makes 100. We want to make 1, so if you watch, 0.25 plus 0.75, 0, add the 1, sorry, 10, put it there, and there's it. And it almost looks like 100 if you kind of do it like that, okay? But you can just take that away, but you must remember to put this. The useful thing about writing it out in this form is that you know that the decimal point just goes 1, 2, okay? So 1, 2 from there, the same format in your answer. So if the decimal point in these is 1, 2, 1, 2, then this will be 1, 2 as well. But that just keeps you right. So if you're adding this as a whole number, 25 add 75, just remember to convert it into the decimal that it actually is, okay? So 15, now 9, 8 and 1 make 9, but you've got the 5 and the 5 to add, so that gives you your whole, okay? So 5 and 5 is 10, 8 and 2 is 10, and there's your 1. Okay, and of course these two will match up together. 6 and 3 make 9 because you need the space to add those two to make the extra number, okay? So be wary of that, it's very, very important. So that was a quick review. If you're not sure about this, go back over yesterday's work and try it again. Use a different frame of mind. 2 add 8 rather than 0.2 add 0.8. Look at it like that. It is nothing new, boys and girls, okay? Maths builds on itself. So you can see the base, you've got 2 plus 8, and it's building now by moving the decimal point. Instead of the decimal point being here for 2, it's gone here to show you 0.2, and it's gone here to show you 0.8. But the maths is the same. 8 and 2 remain 10, okay? So it's nothing new. And if you keep remembering that and you know your basics, then it's going to be so easy. Many people think that knowing 4 and 8 is 12 is something really easy, but not many people can tell you the answer straight away. And you should be able to know that 4 and 8 is 12 straight away, and all the other addition numbers and subtraction up to and within 20. Because you use it, you use it, you use it, okay? It's really strong skills. So very quickly, we'll just go over using a number line to find out. We're going, now we're going to 10, okay? Again, it's nothing new. So we'll mark off the first number, we'll mark off 10, and we've got to get from here in 2 jumps. So this will be a decimal. So here's our question. 2.4 add something equals 10. So here is our whole number, 2, okay? And we have to go to, oh dear, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so this is 3. I'm just going to write these in very small. And you're familiar with number lines, so you'll know what the numbers are. So we've got 2.4, so we need to divide that in half, and then 2.4 will be somewhere like this. So 2.4, and at this point, it might be useful to rub that out to there, okay? And start your mark there. And that way you've got nothing else to think about. So the best thing to do is to think 2.4, what is the nearest whole number? And you can see out of all these numbers that 3 is nearest to it. Drawing a diagram helps every single time. So 3 is the nearest one, you can see it's closest. So 2.4 add what would make 3? So what would you need to add here to make 3? So you need to add 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 0.6, because remember you're not adding a whole one. So you've got, put in your decimal. So from here to here, you had to add 0.6. Now you've used number lines before. I'm just going over this in detail because many people seem to get frightened when they see a decimal point. Look at that. You could think of it being 24. Just take away the decimal point, and then you need to remember to put it back in. So the first thing you do, 0.4 to the nearest whole number is add 6, but we actually want to get to 10. So we then need to do the simplest one, 3 add what makes 10, 3 and 7, that's its partner. And then you simply just add those two together. Okay, so let's try it. 7.6. So 7.6 add 2.4. 6 and 4 is 10. 7 and 2 and 1 is 10. Oh, what am I doing? Sorry, 10. There we go, we all make mistakes. Okay, so it's really simple. Let's try one more. We're not going to go to hundredths, we're just going to stay in the tenths. So it's going to be the units, the decimal point, and the tenths, not anything more, okay? This is useful for you to be familiar with so that you can, when you come to do it again next year, probably one of the 3 will stick with you most, fractions or decimals or percentages, okay? Whichever one you prefer, whichever one you find is more straightforward, that is probably the one that will stick with you. But when you come to do it again in grade 5, you'll be familiar, you will remember this and it will come back to you. Okay, so don't panic about it. Do a little bit of practice every now and then. But I personally would recommend that you make sure that your tables and your number bonds up to and within 20 are really strong. So that would be 3 add 5, going up to 13 add 5, and yes, that only makes 18, but that's within 20, and all the numbers that all mix up together to make up the different numbers. Pardon me, and remember that 15 add 3, play about with these things. Okay, so back to where we were. We're going to make another decimal fraction add up. We're going to find the missing number to make 10, and this time this number will be 7, 8, 9, and we're going to make the number 7.6. Okay, so we can get rid of that and we can start here. So again, the first step, two steps, this is two-step addition using a number line. You need to get to the nearest, the closest whole number that's bigger, okay? So you know that 6 and what? How many would you need? 7, 8, 9, 10, okay? Because in between all of these, you've got 7 and 8. So you've got 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, 7.6, 7.7, 7.8, 7.9, 7.10. Okay, so to get from 7.6, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 7.7, 7.8, 7.9, 8. Okay, so you need to add on 4. So you need to add on not 4 whole ones, remember, because we're just doing this, 0.4. Okay, and then simply you just need to know 8 add what makes 10, add 2. So 2.4. Oh, sorry, I didn't write it up here. 7.6 add 2.4 equals 10. And it is that simple. Watch this video as many times as you need to so that you fully understand this. But it's very straightforward. This is a good thing to master. Play about with this, play a game with your parents. Give them questions, muddle them up, okay? If you're really confident, you could even do 88 hundredths equals, so we've got hundredths, so we're looking in this column, so we've got 8, and then we've got 8, and then we've got that. So if we put that hundredths, so you've got the decimal point there. Okay, I don't want to mark it on there. So you could go into using your hundredths. I wouldn't really go into your thousands, but if you're happy to do that, please do so. But this is important learning for this year. Okay, if you can extend it a bit further to the hundredths, do so. Remember, you'll have 2 spaces, so therefore there's your 2 zeros to show you the 2 spaces as well. Okay, that doesn't really correlate with anything else, so don't really pay too much attention to that. Try and always draw a diagram. It tells you the nearest number that's bigger, the nearest whole number. Here, this clearly shows it as tenths, so you know to go to the tenths column, and then you just need to see how many tenths do I have, okay? I had 10 pieces of pizza, 8 of them were eaten, 8 pieces were, okay? So 8 pieces are what you're using. Okay, good luck boys and girls. Message me if you need any more help, okay? Have fun.